Welcome to Neon Cobra. Let's kick into it. Fantastic. So this week we're going to do just a quick how-to. I've been kind of creating a little bit of a how-to sessions that comes in tandem with my actual cost optimization series. So this week I'm actually going to show you how to do Azure Hybrid Benefits. Now, a quick recap. Azure Hybrid Benefits is essentially a bring your own licensing model. This is where you bring either software from on-premise with active software assurance or subscription-based licensing on 1 or 3 year terms. And as a result, you can attest to Microsoft that you are bringing the licensing in. Now, just having this licensing present doesn't immediately wipe out the operating system charges per month. So once you purchase it and have it on the tenant or proof of purchase of the products itself, you can come into Azure and then enable it per VM as needed. So dealing in CSP, you're again going to be looking at 1 or 3 year software assurance or software subscriptions, pardon me. And those subscriptions come in 1 or 3 year terms. Now you can pay for them monthly, annually, or triannually, or all upfront, right? Depending on the terms. Now, a lot of operating systems and VM types, it makes sense to use them for your D series, your E series. Now, B series burstable machines, they tend to have very heavily discounted licensing because they are constrained systems. So you likely would not want to use them there. So with that being said, you've purchased the licensing, you've completed the order, you see it present on the tenant. You're going to want to come into Azure. So we're going to flip over to there. Once you're in Azure, simply search for virtual machines at the top. You'll have a list of all the virtual machines. Now find the ones you want to protect and discount. Now, AVD is not a requirement because AVD gets its licensing from your Business Premium or similar Office 365 SKUs. You're going to want to be focusing on Windows operating systems that are true Windows Server. So in this case, this ISC apps we're running here is a Server 2022 data center. It is a 4-core 16 gig. This system runs about $196 Canadian per month. A 3-year license at current date and time is $996 for 3 years. So on this one alone, your ROI is about 3.5 to 4 months of consumption before buying the licensing is applicable. Now you can do, or you have to do a minimum 8 cores every time, so you can't split these licensing packs. But if this was an 8-core system, the license itself would run you through Microsoft about $400 a month, which means it would break even in about 2 months. It is a very cost-effective way to drive down the environment. So once you are in the virtual machine itself, you're going to expand settings to the left and you're going to be looking for operating system. Now, this has changed over the last couple of years, I believe. It used to be under properties or configuration and now exists in its own slide called operating system. Once you're in here, you just need to toggle this no to yes, confirm you have an eligible Windows Server license with software assurance or server subscription, and that's the CSP licensing, and choose apply. That is it. There is no key install or anything. By doing this, you now attest to Microsoft that you are providing the appropriate licensing to license the environment. And then that way you can avoid a heavy amount of cost coming through this side. Now, SQL also offers the same sort of license application. You will generally find under the SQL Server sides an operating or a software property section. Now, quite honestly, the ROI isn't the same on that. SQL on a 36-month term will generally pay for itself by month 32. So 4 cores is about $13,000 Canadian. It takes the cost from $400 a month down to $350 a month. So more often than not, when you're adopting these operational expense models, we don't see that get edited too often. We don't see that added in. The only time we would generally entertain that would be as if there's a large CapEx expense that needs to occur, more or less budgets where it's use it or lose it. So not-for-profits, government entities, things like that, where they maybe want to run it into a fiscal year. They will buy this licensing ahead of time to then just finish off the budgets, and then you can lower on your overall OpEx costs. Not frequently used, at least in the MSP space though. So that is really the long and short. Super simple. 3 settings to go in. Make sure you have your licensing validated and applied online, and then you're good to go. So thanks for this. I'm looking forward to interacting with you guys. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Chat with me on LinkedIn, and we'll catch you next time.